I tried to play, but I am very bad with, my thumbs are failures. My nephews had no patience for.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. Keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
What were the difference between working on game and years later to adapt to this for the series?
Oh man, so many differences. Obviously with the game, like the story didn't exist, so I was building something out of nothing. The other thing is, when you make a game, so much of it is about immersion. So you're trying to make the player feel like they are the character. They are Joel, and later in the story, they are Ellie. And then you're trying to get them to move in a contiguous space. They're controlling the camera. They're controlling the pacing in a way. A show is very different. If you were to try to replicate that, it would be boring. So when we made the show, the game exists. So first it was kind of dissecting it and studying it to say, okay, what's important to keep? What would translate one-to-one? And we should keep it. If there's no reason to change it, we shouldn't change it. And what are the things that are unique to games, like this stuff I was describing about immersion, that just wouldn't work? So that has to change. Okay, what do we change it to? What can we leverage here? And the big thing was, and this was our secret sauce, was, we can leave Joel and Ellie. We can leave their perspective and go somewhere else and spend time. Like for example, in the game, you never get a scene alone with just Ellie and Marlene. In the show you do. So we get to see that relationship and enrich it and see other perspective of it. And that happens throughout the show. And I think that's the major difference.
There are a lot of challenges to adapt video games to television or movies, and we know that because we've seen a lot of bad adaptations. And we were certainly aware of that. Neil was certainly aware of that as somebody who works so hard in the video game industry. But we had a couple of things going for us. We had The Last of Us, which is an incredible story, and it's a wonderful game to play. I've played it a gazillion times, but the characters and the relationships and the narrative were so beautiful and could stand apart from gameplay. The other thing we had was Neil, who as a creator was the most flexible, smart, and generous collaborator. He allowed the two of us to play and to push the edges of things. We were able to change perspectives, so it's not always with Joel and Ellie, sometimes with our other characters. We fill in gaps, we expand, and we do it all in service still of that great story. Everything is about making that story come to life in this medium, to do a proper adaptation. I think fans are gonna love it. People who don't know anything about the video game, who come to this fresh, will experience it and love it the way that I loved playing the game.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west, they're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
What's your relationship with the Last of Us games? Did you play both games?
I tried to play, but I am very bad with, my thumbs are failures. My nephews had no patience for, but they took over and I insisted that they continue playing the game on my behalf so that I could see it unfold. It got pretty far. I really enjoyed it. I'm almost grateful that I'm bad at it because you wouldn't be able to get me out of my room because I would be playing.
Well, I've played both games over and over and over. We asked Bella and Pedro not to play the game. We didn't want Pedro to, as a performer, to take on too much of what Troy did, and we didn't want Bella to take on too much of what Ashley did. We wanted them to bring themselves because, as Neil and I like to say, it wasn't like Troy and Ashley had seen Joel and Ellie before they were Joel and Ellie. They brought themselves. We put all of the Joel and Ellie-ness that we could onto the page. They both cheated and they both played a little bit and watched gameplay, and so they're sneaky. They're sneaky.
I did. Yeah, I got the job and immediately started playing. In fact, before they finalized the fact that I was going to play Tommy, I started it because I'm a big advocate of the idea that prepare for the job as if you already have it. So I started playing. It took me a long time because, as you know, it's a very, very intense story. So sometimes you can only play a little bit at a time. So about 2.5 months, I played through both of them. In fact, I finished the second game 2 days before I flew to Calgary to shoot them shows. It was still very fresh in my mind. And, you know, I was one of those guys on set that was like, well, in the game, they do this, or in the game, you know, so, and a lot of the crew also played it. And so we all kind of, you know, we had this mutual love and got to live it out, which was exciting, yeah.
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
How was for you to play Tommy in The Last of Us, and what most captured your attention about this character?
I very much love playing Tommy. He's a character that is very similar to who I am, so that's always great when you have a character that you identify with and that you've had similar experiences. He was born and raised in the same place I was, so I think it was a pretty seamless kind of transition into that character.
How was for you to play Marlene in the series of The Last of Us, especially that you played this character in the games?
Yeah.
How was the difference?
It was, a completely different set of circumstances, and the biggest thing was untethering myself, how I related to Marlene 10 years ago. And also the fact that, again, 10 years later, I have had the great privilege, is something you never say in Hollywood, is I aged into the character, which was also, a wonderful blessing, which gave me another bit of confidence that, yes, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be telling her story then, and the timing has been divine enough that I am physically that version now. I have the opportunity to see her in a new light.
You trust me?